Hi, I'm Daniel Likis.
Hi, I'm Jackie Pellegrin.
This is Coaching 101, a space for growth, accountability, and transformation where insight meets action and people learn to move forward with purpose. Another week, another great episode. Listening beyond words, the core skill every coach must master. We need to master this, our partner.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Are you considering yourself as a coach?
I guess I could be. I've been consulting for a while, for quite a while, so that's kind of a coach. Yeah, so I guess a version of it. Yeah, in a way. And I've mentored for a long time at work, so yeah, maybe so.
I think I'm a beginner. I'm a newbie in coaching, and I'm planning to be a coach.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yes, let's do this, Miss Jackie, because people earning through this business, coaching.
Yes.
Why not, right?
Right.
Why we're doing podcasting, we need a coach. We need to do coaching. So what do you think, what will be, for me, podcasting? I will coach people how to create their podcast, how to monetize, how to have big downloads. I think that's the first that I will do if I have a coaching business. How about you, Miss Jackie?
Oh, yeah. I think that could be one thing. Also, just how to go about with teaching in higher education. I think that could be good, especially with AI now. I think that's really important.
Yes. Yeah. People, we are inviting you to please do listen to our upcoming podcast, AI 101, soon available wherever you listen your podcast, coming first week of March. So tune in, people, tune in. AI 101 and of course Tech 101. Miss Jackie, tell us, what can they expect to this podcast that we are creating?
Yeah, so for Coaching 101, we're going to be teaching different skills and what I like to call the KSAs, the knowledge, skills, and abilities. Those that are thinking of going into coaching or are coaching, maybe new at it, how we can help them so they can help their clients achieve more. So I think that's really good. And then Bible Verses 101, I love that because we pick those verses and then we dive deep into those. I love that to help people get closer to Christ and to maintain that relationship with him. So I love that. And then the AI and the Tech 101, those are great because we're talking about the technology and all the aspects of AI and how it's changing our daily lives. So yeah, I think they all offer something unique, which is great.
Yes, we are changing people, and those podcasts is the moment that you will listen, they are informative. For sure. They are informative people, so please do listen. And before we continue our discussion, Miss Jackie and I met through Podmatch. She's my guest on Book 101 Review. Then I said, can you come back and guest on Abstract Essay? Did I say that? Abstract Essay, right?
I think it was, yes. Or Love Letters, one of the two.
Yes. No, Abstract Essay, and then
it was Abstract Essay.
Yeah. And then come back for my love letters. I said yes. Miss Jackie always say yes for me. So thank God. Thank you, Miss Jackie.
Sure. So, and then I did Movies 101 review, right?
Yeah, and movies. Yes.
I did Geography 101 and you're
Geography 101. Yeah. Yes. Thank God, Miss Jackie, for saying yes to all the podcasts that we are creating.
Absolutely.
We will promise you, people, that we will empower you and give you information. We try our best that our podcast will be bigger, better, bolder in each episode that we are doing. That's the history of why Miss Jackie and I have these now 4 podcasts together.
Yes.
It's the involvement from Padmats to being a guest on Book 101 Review, Abstract Essay, Movie 101 Review, Geography 101. So now officially my co-host for 4 podcasts.
Yes.
And who knows, one more podcast. Why not?
You
Love
never
letters.
know. Yeah, you never know. Well, I have to say that Podmatch has really helped me. I've been doing my podcast for 3.5 years, but I joined Podmatch May of last year, so May 2025,
Mhm.
and it's changed so much in how I approach my podcast, and now, even now, how you and I are doing this together. I could have never imagined that that would have happened. And
Yes.
now I have a client I'm working with that I met through Podmatch, and I'm
Hmm.
helping him develop curriculum. And so it's been amazing. And so I have to give kudos to
Mr.
Alex and the
Alex.
whole Podmatch team. I mean, it's great.
Padmasi,
Yeah.
Mr. Alex and Filippo, thank you so much. We give you an applause for that. Thank you so much for
Yes.
creating such amazing platform for us. So, Miss Jackie, let's talk about listening beyond words, the core skills of every coach must master. So,
Yes.
truly listen beyond words, we have to quiet our own internal narrator or our judgment, solution, or autobiography. What does the state of self forgetting actually feel like in a practice, and how do you consciously cultivate it before a session?
Mm. Yeah, I think it's one of those things we've talked about before where to me, I think what we need to look to is the deep listening, right? We need to actually uh, do active listening and reflect what the individual is saying, what our client is saying, right? Before we answer. And so there's different levels of listening, active listening and all of that. So I think those are the things, and we can go deeper into that. But I think that's one of the things that is so important. And I learned that in the job I'm in now, how important active listening is. And I think it just helps us to have that deeper connection with our clients and helping them to move forward and yeah, and to
Mhm.
help them. Yeah.
To move forward, people. You've said listening is not just with the ears. Can you describe, Miss Jackie, the moment client listen or slightly shift the posture or the energy of the room or give you more crucial information than the words that you were saying? Miss Jackie is a teacher, right, Miss Jackie?
Correct. Yes,
So,
I've been teaching for a while now.
mhm,
Yes.
for sure, you have this experience
Right.
many times.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's interesting because as a teacher, whether you're K through 12 or you're higher education, even in corporate when you're a facilitator and you're able to coach others in that way and help them to learn, not only learn the job but to be able to do it well, right? So as a teacher, I do that too. I help my students to I'm not only helping them learn the content, but I'm helping them to be able to uh, take that information and then bring it into their jobs, or to level up, go into a different career, which is what a lot of my students are trying to do. So they're trying to actually get a degree so that they can do something else. So I think it's so important whenever I talk to my students to really listen to what they're saying, but like you said, beyond the words, and to really just see what they're actually saying, and what their tone is, right? So it's about tone, it's about body language, things like that. Even online, I can still tell what their body language is, and I can tell when they hesitate, or when they're confident and things like that. So I look for those hidden types of things when I'm talking to them. So it's very interesting to
Mhm.
do that. Yeah.
Well, for me, I'm not a coach yet, but sooner or later. But I interviewed like 1,700 interviews for 1 year on Padmats. Being 1 year on Padmats, Miss Jackie,
Wow.
they sent me a letter saying, "Congratulations, you've been 1 year and you interviewed 1,600 or something, almost
Oh my
700."
goodness. That's
And they said,
amazing.
yes, thank you. And you will notice if my guest is like hesitating to answer the question, or he's lying, or he's having a doubt of what he's talking about. You will know, right?
Yes.
You can observe the way they talk, the way they speak, or the way they deliver the answer. So, Miss Jackie, let's talk about the four listeners metaphor. Imagine a person is imposed of four layers. Okay, four layers. The words they say, the emotion they feel, the values that drive them, and the essence of who they are. In typical coaching conversation, where do most people get stuck listening, and how they get train yourself to listen to the deeper layers?
Mm. Yeah, what I've seen commonly happen in the workplace and even with those that I know that are coaches and what they've told me over time is that so many times when someone's new at this or when they're not familiar with how to actively listen, right, or what the listening process looks like, what typically happens is someone will actually they won't really listen, but they're going to be thinking about what their answer will be, and instead of actually just stopping and just listening to the person, they'll just want to think of what's my answer going to be, right? And yeah, so I think that's one pitfall kind of that I think we should avoid. Even if we're not professional coaches, even if we don't have that credential, I think it's so important that we do that and that we try not to just because I used to do that. I used to think, what's my answer going to be? And then I realized I wasn't actually listening to the person and deeply understanding what they were saying, and so I was missing key information, right, that I didn't pick up on. So I think that's one aspect I think that's really important is to really listen to the person and not be thinking of your answer that you're going to give.
Mhm. Listen, people, listen, then react. So, how do you prepare yourself, Miss Jackie, as listening instrument? What is your procession ritual to ensure you tune or calibrated the fully available receive not just a data but the whole person itself?
Right. I think that's so important. I think one of the things that really helps me is open-ended questions. So I think that's really important. And then if you, like you said earlier, if you feel like a client or someone that you're working with says, you know, like they're saying, I'm fine, you ask them, how are you doing today? And they say, I'm fine, but their voice tightens up or it gets shaky, then you're hearing that they're fine, but you also notice that tension. So looking for, like I said, those hidden things, I think is so important. And just being able to stay open to that, right? And not, I think one thing too that's important is not having prejudgment towards that individual either, and just being open to that as well, and making sure that it's a two-way dialogue, that it's you're not doing a lot of the talking, but you're also allowing the client to talk as well. I think that's important. Yeah.
Yes, vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, then respond, then respect the idea of the person you're talking. The power of the pause. Most people rush to fill the silence, right? And
Yes.
why this disciplined, comfortable use of a pause after a client speaks and the single most powerful tool for listening beyond the prepared narrative. What often emerges in that space?
Oh, I think it's really important to have those pauses. I know if we want to fill that silence, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's so common, even for those that aren't of us that those that aren't coaches, that we notice that too. And so
Yes.
I think those pauses can allow um, you to think as a coach. What is I don't know. I think it just helps you formulate a response that the the client doesn't think you're rushing it,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't think you're rushing them either. So, and I think it allows the client to actually think through things more deeply, right? So I think it allows you to be able to reflect back that information and then also come up with a follow-up question if you need to. And I just think that it takes takes you through that process, and you end up having a better outcome at the end when you're able to do that.
True. You know, people, if you compare pause to a nap, if you take a nap for 20 minutes, it replenishes your body.
Right.
Well, more than 20 minutes is not good, but make sure if you nap 20 minutes, make sure if you pause, not that long enough. People will get bored if they pause like long time. What you're doing, you don't know what you're saying.
Right.
So make sure if you pause, not that long, not that short, in between, okay, to replenish you, to, as Miss Jackie said, to give you more reflection of what you're talking about. So listening from the capital T, truth, but nothing but the truth. Clients often present a small t truth, a surface story. How do you listen to that hint? The voice or contradictory phrase, a repeated metaphor that points to a deeper capital T truth they may not yet be ready to state directly,
Mm. Wow.
right?
Yeah, I think that's really good. I think if someone's constantly referencing, oh, this person said I should do this, or this person said that, or, and you're noticing that they're doing that, probably it's the little t, right? Not the capital T. So you have to look at where the motivation of what they're saying, where that's coming from. So I think that's important, part of it. What do you think about that? Do you think that's, yeah, that kind of that motivation will drive that?
Yes, you can sense a person if it's lying or not. He's not telling the truth. The big T and the small t
Mm-hmm.
is is not directly giving you direct answer. He's make sure that the answer is not directly. He's overlaying to the direct point of the answer, which
Mm,
is you can notice it, right?
right. Yeah. Where
It's
you ask them a question and they go around it, right? And
yeah,
they don't directly answer you. Yes.
question.
Yes.
That's the letter T. That's the small T for sure.
Right.
So the echo of what not said, Miss Jackie. How do you listen for a ghost in a narrative? Hmm? Ghost in a
Mm.
narrative? The significant person event or feeling that, well, you think that he's not telling the letter T or the big T absent from the story. So what question does what absence invite? What that
Oh.
absence? What question to be asked if you know that he's lying? The letter T.
Mm. Yeah. So what would be like a key question that you could ask the client in that
Yes.
moment? Right. So I would maybe ask them like, could you tell me a little bit more about that? Or could you provide more detail about that? Or what led you to believe that? Right.
Mhm.
Maybe some of those types of questions, because if it's true, if they're not being straight with you, if they're lying, then you can usually tell, because what you want to try to do is pull back the onion, right? The layers of the onion,
Yes.
get to the core of it. And so I think just those questions, and I would say don't probably don't say it in a way that feels condescending to the client, but do it in a curious way. And so you're not, so they don't, the client doesn't feel like, well, why are they asking these questions? Is it because they think, you
I'm
know,
paying you.
right, exactly. So I think there's a way you can do it, and do it in a way that is still respectful of the person, even though you're like, there's something they're not being fully honest in this manner, and there could be a reason why, and you can get to that, but it's just, it may take a few
Take
questions to get
time.
there.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yes. You need to rebuild the rapport first before they give it the all things they want you to know.
Right.
And let's talk about the listening stance in life, Miss Jackie. True listening. How has cultivating the skill in coaching changed how we listen to your partner, your children, or friend in crisis? What's the difference about your presence in everyday conversations?
Right. I think one of the things is being able to understand where that person's coming from. I think that's one of the key things I think that can help with those types of relationships, and being able to coach someone through a crisis, whether, like you said, whether it's your partner or a friend or a family member or something like that. I think being able to see where they're coming from, and not always wanting to solve the problem right away, but sometimes they want you to be there for them, and just to be that listening ear, right? And not always give them advice or say you should do this or that, but be there for them. And then, through time, I think, no, I think you can give them advice, but you know, don't just give it to them without without knowing that it's the right thing to do. So yeah, I
True.
think that's important.
That's true. Very important, people, to listen first, then react. Because if you do that, you're the most powerful person in the world. Listen, then react. Can you truly listen to others if you can listen to yourself? That's
Right.
a good question. How
That's
does
so
this
true.
skill
Yeah.
of listening beyond word inform your own self-awareness and intuition? I think this is a skill to listen, right? Because
Right. Mm.
people don't like to listen. They want to just talk and talk. But you need to have this skill, especially if you are a podcast host, right?
Absolutely.
Interviewing people,
Hmm.
interviewing people. You need to have this skill.
Right. Yeah, when you're interviewing others, right? Or like you and I are doing, we're having that conversation back and forth, and this is a
Mm-hmm.
shared experience, right? So it's not
True.
one person doing more than the other. It's a shared experience. But true, it's true when you are interviewing someone on a podcast. Yeah, I don't do most of the talking. I actually let my guests do most of the talking, whereas with you and I, we're sharing this because we're co-hosting.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing the difference is really important. Yeah, but listening is definitely a skill that is
Yeah, yeah,
fine-tuned over time. It's not something that just comes right away for people. They have to constantly sharpen that skill, right?
definitely. One time I have guests. The whole 30 minutes, he's the one who speak all the time.
Oh,
I
wow.
said, okay, thank you. The first statement, okay, I introduce myself. Yeah, I introduce myself. And then, okay, this our topic for today is this. Then, can you please introduce yourself? This is my signature. And then, okay, talking and talking and talking and talking. I did not interrupt because I listened to him. I think at the end of the show, I said, okay, thank you so much for being part of the podcast and hoping you will be my guest again in the next future.
Mm,
So I did my skill to listen. I did not interrupt because that's the guest want. So just talk and talk and talk. And for me, it's not that disrespect because I acquired my listening skill, right? I
right.
respect him, and if that if that's what you want, yes, go ahead, be my
True.
guest, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's the power of listening. Mm. Cultivating your
Absolutely.
skill.
Yeah, reading the room, as they say, right? And
Yes.
yeah, because you may not know the person really well, but you can start within the first few minutes. You can start to kind of see a little bit about that. You got that early on, and
Mm-hmm.
so that happened to me too. Very similar, where I have all my
I guess.
questions prepared, right? And
Mm-hmm.
but they're not something that I stick to as a script. I improvise, and
Mm-hmm.
because you never know when you're going to have a situation like that. And I had
True.
something similar to that where
Mm-hmm.
I was only able to ask 2 questions out of the 5 I had. Now, someone new to this type of industry would have, ordinarily someone may have been upset about that. Like
True.
what you went through, they might have been like, I didn't get to say anything. Wait a minute, that wasn't really an interview, right? But you improvised. And so I
Mm-hmm.
think that's important. So normally I think at the beginning of the process when I first started, I probably would have been a little upset, like, wait, I had all these questions prepared and I took all this time to do this. And who knows, I could have been early on upset about that, but I agree. I wasn't upset about it because I just let it become a conversation. And again, the same thing happened to me. They ended up talking more than me and that's okay.
The power of a skill of listening, people.
Right. Yes.
Yes, so Miss Jackie, to wrap up our discussion for today, if coach wanted to develop the skill and could only commit one daily practice for the next year, what do you recommend they do train their listening beyond words muscle?
Yes. I think one thing they can do, and this is something I learned in because there's a coaching master's program at the school I teach at. So
Mm-hmm.
this is what I learned is it's called the 3R method. So the first R is to reflect what you heard. And then
Yes.
the second R is to reveal what it might mean and then request. And you ask the client, is that accurate? So again, the 3R method: reflect, reveal, request. That's what I would say. Refine that over the next year. And I think you'll notice big changes in a good way.
Yes, people. Listening beyond words is the core skill for every coach must master. Even I'm not a coach yet, but well, pretending to be a coach. Just like my comedy 101. My partner teaching me how to be a comedian. So I'm pretending to be a comedian. So I'm trying to my best to implement the techniques, the posture that my partner telling me when we're doing comedy 101. And sad to say, I have this slow movement, but well, it's moving.
I love it.
Just like here, Coaching 101, people, at the heart of this effective coaching lies a discipline for a deeper than asking the right questions or offering well-timed insight. The ability to listen beyond words. This form of listening requires a full presence, attunement not only of the client says, but how they say it. Miss Jackie, would you like to plug in something?
Sure. If anyone would like to check out my podcast, if they're interested in education and instructional design, it's called Designing with Love, and they can check it out anywhere that they listen to their podcasts.
Yes, people, Miss Jackie and I, we are formulating lots of podcasts that I want to promote. AI 101 coming soon, wherever you listen your podcast, but we are always live streaming every Friday, AI 101 and Tech 101, and of course, our Saturday edition, Coaching 101 and Bible Verses 101. For our AI 101, Tech 101, and Coaching 101, soon to be published wherever you listen your podcast. So stay tuned. But if you want to do advanced, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, LinkedIn, and what else, Miss Jackie? All the social media.
All the social media, Instagram.
Yeah. Instagram, yes. Okay, so Miss Jackie,
thank you for joining us and keep learning.
more to come, people. See you soon.